Welcome back, everyone, to the Guns of Boom Challenger Series Season 2, Cup number 7. I'm Jason Kaplan, joined by the one, the only, the myth, the legend, Jason Kaplan and Lethal.
How did I know you was going to do that?
I'm sorry, I had to.
It's fine, it's fine. Doing good, doing your...
I didn't ask you how you're doing.
Oh, well, I'm doing fine.
I'm doing great, first of all. No, how are you doing? How you doing? This is our second I'm sorry, if you're just joining us, you missed out on the European. We were having some fun. We love each other, don't worry. We do not hate each other. I swear to the gods of Boom. But how are you doing today?
Doing great. Another region now, doing the NA side, and it's going to be as close as ever with these next teams coming up.
It's quite a surprise, or not a surprise, to see the top teams all make it through into the semifinals. You know, you would assume if you're one of the top teams, you know, most points on the board, you would traditionally be able to get through. But, you know, some teams unable to do so. But here in North America, it seems pretty standard. The only surprise is Only Nation. But we'll get to that in just a second, because we want to show you guys what's going on in the year of Guns of Boom. Just give you a little idea of our timeline of this year, because this tournament, this last cup, is all leading into the big event coming in North America in just a couple weeks' time, to be honest. Just right around the corner next month. But after that here, what happens, Lethal?
What happens is there will be a point reset, and starting next week, it all happens again. Everyone needs to collect those points in the other cups to qualify for the LATAM Pro Series in Brazil, which is going to be an interesting one because there's been a lot more new teams cropping up here. Yeah,
new teams, and more importantly, new chances to get yourself through into the main event. So if you didn't qualify this time, it's not that big of a deal. You'll be able to start back up coming into next week, which will be here once again, bringing you all the action. And you get to try to work your way up into that event. And of course, you can see at the end, Gods of Boom event. Their second one. You don't know where it is. You don't know when it is. We might know. Probably not. We don't get told anything. We just show up and like, yeah, well, this is what's happening today. Yeah, so we have obviously a lot of these events coming up, and a lot of chances for a lot of these teams out there to qualify. But going into now today, this is where things get interesting. Let's take a look at the standings. You can see who potentially can make it through into the main event. There's no clear-cut winner just yet. 25 points separates Impact Gaming from Team Force, and 25 again from Force down to Simplicity. So there's a lot of potential upsets here to come your way.
That's right. It's very similar to the EU side in terms of the teams which can actually potentially qualify. Impact Gaming looking like they're in a very good spot so far, but, you know, like you mentioned before, on the EU side, the fate is in their hands. Team Force and Simplicity can't rely on other teams to make sure to get it done themselves to at least make it to the final to qualify for that playoff.
So let's theorycraft here as we still look at the standings a little bit more, or as when, you know, we'll just not theorycraft for now, we'll theorycraft another time, is because Only Nation doesn't have a chance to qualify because they're already only 100 points. Even if they won today, they would go up to 200, which is still below the top two. But they can play spoiler in this somehow, I feel like. If they beat Impact, then Impact has a chance to potentially... Actually, no, I think they're still through, but only a second place. And it comes down to who wins the next match between Simplicity and Force. And actually, just take a look at the brackets so you can get an idea. You don't have to hear me talk about it. You can see it on your screen of what teams will be playing today. And as you see there, Simplicity, Force, and Impact, and Only Nation. So Impact's number 1. If Only Nation wins, I think they still stay at number 2. I'm not the admin. I don't do math. It's already hard enough to do.
You tried earlier.
I did. It wasn't that bad.
No, it was all right. It was at least average.
It was like kindergarten level. And then Simplicity and Team Force are trying to fight for that second place position, more importantly. So winner of this game, I believe, is through. I think it depends on how third, fourth place goes with points and stuff like that, because it's still 50 points for third, 40 points for fourth, but second gives you 75. And there's a 25-point difference between second and third. So third place match could potentially be a massive deal for these teams.
That's right. With Impact Gaming now, if they do make the final and beat Only Nation, we'll see how it goes. You know, Only Nation have only just started coming up. They do seem to be doing quite well so far. Could they cause an upset? It depends on the situation, because Team Impact are a very, very strong team. We had 2 squads back in Season 1 of Hyped Up and V Gaming, and they've kind of like got a bit of a combo going. Got 2 teammates from each team combined, could say kind of like a god squad, and now they've made quite a huge impact. See what I did there?
I'm going to ask you a question. I'm only going to ask it once. Did you have that prepared specifically for this?
I actually didn't. I literally looked at the word impact and I was like, ah, there you go.
Well, kudos to you then. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, so a very big impact on the scene of Guns of Boom, though they haven't been able to prove it necessarily on the worldwide stage like we did just see last week here in Katowice. If you missed out on that, we obviously had the Gods of Boom tournament with you, with Jackie, with Blue, casting it with Matt Andrews there hosting. It was a sick event in the Spodek Arena. I know this, we've already talked about this before, sorry, but for all the new viewers, maybe you can kind of give your little take on the event and how it went.
Yes, so with Lazarus and Noble, they were the top 2 teams at the time, still are really, and they went up against each other at IM Katowice last week. We saw Noble take that 4-0 quite comfortably. A little bit of a shock, I would say, but maybe some of the lineup changes they made more of an effort to kind of see why it was such a huge scoreline. Yeah, but great event nonetheless.
A huge scoreline. We'll just spoil it for you. 4-0 if you didn't catch that. it lasted about 15 minutes. I think the pre-show was longer than all the actual game time combined.
Oh, yeah.
That's how unfortunately one side of that match is, or at least was. But we know that Noble's not going to be here coming into the event in Texas in just a few weeks' time. But we're kicking things off here with our first match of the day. It's Paradise Island. It's going to be King of the Hill. And it's going to be Force up against Simplicity. A very important match for these two teams.
And funny enough, when we see Kitty Monster there, he actually used to be on the original Amplified roster in Season 1. So it's good to see him back, good to see him still playing here, and the chance for him to also get back on the NA Pro Series stage. And with this map as well, Team Force have got players like Optimus at the Season 1 finals, made such a huge impact with the sniper back then. We'll have to see if he can do as well as he did last event.
Just going to bring something up really quick while we're in the early stages of the game here. We've got Thanos, we got Javier, but Goku Javier. Would Goku have been destroyed by the Infinity Gauntlet?
Oh, why are you these hard questions?
I don't remember if the Infinity Gauntlet's only for that universe or the multiverse.
I don't think it would. I reckon it'd be alright.
I think the multiverse only exists in DC. I don't know. I remember if it exists in Marvel.
I don't really know too much about Marvel and DC, so you're asking a question which I'm pretty much clueless about.
Well, the thing is, I would tell you Goku would probably go Super Saiyan not destructible somehow.
Ultra Instinct,
Thanos
maybe?
Wouldn't be able to do anything against him. Thanos would have aimed for the head instead of the chest. Anyways, 185 to 297 so far. We are seeing Force off to a strong start here. We have J-Master with 56 points, but Goku, Javier at 86 himself. And I killed Elmo only at 27 at the moment, so a little bit of a rough start for him, but it is early times.
I've noticed they've not changed their strategies too much. I remember Optimus back then, he would have to snipe to not sit too far back on spawn, but another nice G-launcher there from Optimus, getting a nice double elimination there. But Key Monster, he is on was on an elimination streak, but that's been taken down thanks to Optimus now. But they need to do something with this lead. They do have the point control, so they need to try and work out something here.
Yeah, they have point control, but that's quickly going to be turned if they can just finish off this last elimination, which they will do. 2 players still going to be coming in, and just like that, Optimus with the snipe takes him down. And this is hands down the biggest lead we have seen now. 200 points and climbing here for Force. And they are definitely a force to reckon with.
That's right. I like what you did there. I can see your cheeky face. But you saw there as well, Team Force. They completely got a whitewash there, got all 4 opponents down, waited for them on spawn, didn't get too overzealous, trying to push in too far, which is great. But you saw there a triple from the Simplicity side, and they do get the point back. So there is a small window of opportunity there, but for double elimination there. Optimus, a triple one there, and he's getting the point back. We could be seeing Team Force walking away with this.
Oh, he's on a fall, yeah. So I guess kind of a good reset for him. And J-Master trying to die to Kitty Monster, who does eventually finish off that elimination. It might pay the price too, but does get the trade here with Stavy off to the side, able to hit a nice snipe shot, so the point will turn around. But the damage is done. 260 points between the two teams. And you can see only 116 left to go here for Force to finish off this game. This map, sorry.
That's right, only 76 points left now. Another triple elimination from J-Master. My maths is okay, but it did well enough to remember that then. But look at that now, 11 points left. Team Force are clearly going to walk away with this. They have the point in hand as well. And that's going to be the first game going to Team Force.
You know what it's like to me when you're doing math out of air? It's very similar to like being in school. And when the teacher asks a question to like some other student, you're like, oh, that's easy, I know the answer. But then when they ask you, you're just like, but if they asked someone else, you would have been like, yeah, that's simple. It's, 75 or, the Bay of Pigs, whatever the question was.
It's because the games are so hectic as well with the point system. It changes all the time. So by the time I say 74, it's then 26, and I'm just like, trying to get grasp of things. But
we'll get better.
My maths is okay. My maths is okay.
We'll get better. Hopefully, like Simplicity will get better here into the next map because they are one map away from potentially having no chance to get through into the main event in Texas. I told you to do this all night. Not stopping.
No, you're not stopping at all. And you see through this map as well, Team Force was so aggressive, kept them at bay, and basically their gun skill was just more on point in comparison to the other side of Simplicity. Yeah, sure, fair enough, we've got some flanks going, managed to have that snowball effect only once or twice, but Team Force, with their death cycle, did such a good job. And, what a great start. They couldn't ask for a better start, really, now, going into that first game and now moving on to the second one.
Looking at their two styles, it's like kind of comparing apples and oranges, It seems like it wasn't really easily doable between the two. As you obviously did see, I mean, that was... How much was that? 25? 325. Well, technically 336 point difference at the end.
I'm proud of you for that, mate.
Well, what you don't know, or people at home don't see, is a calculator right here.
Yeah, he's actually got a Casio calculator, just like working it out as he's actually doing things. So if you see him look down, you know why he's actually doing it.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, thanks for calling me out. Could have said no. He's doing on the top of his head. But anyways, yes, that's our first map done. We are moving over to Farming Complex. I'm looking at my notes this time, not a calculator. As we get... Calculator's actually in the back of the book. We're moving on to our next map, and we're currently with the 1-0 lead. And again, I can't emphasize how much or how important this map now is here for Simplicity. You need this map to have a better chance where it comes down to the math when we get to the third, fourth place game. And honestly, I haven't calculated that far ahead yet, so I don't know what will happen there. But I know if you win this one, there's a better chance of getting through.
That's right, you don't really need good maths to work that out anyway, but at least you worked it out for me. And as you can see there now, Team Force with a decent start there. It was a bit weird because Simplicity, he had two members go for the middle point, but only one member was holding him back and gave him enough time for the rest of his team to actually clear up. So it looks like Team Force, again, another good start. Getting traded off here and there now, but we need to see something special from Simplicity here to stop them from getting that early lead comparison to that last map.
Well, early lead is being done here now. About 50 points here between the two. See Thanos here, not able to really hit the shots too much. Not only did he kill Elmo, he killed Thanos, which is something Thor can't say for himself. But now we can see J Master. Look, you really know nothing about Marvel, do you?
No, not really.
Oh my gosh!
I literally know.
It's like casting with Zoot. He knows nothing about pop culture and films. All he knows is about badminton.
I know a little bit. I don't know how much I know compared to Zoot, but
in Infinity War, he almost killed Thanos, but he aimed for the chest of the head to kill him. His greed and desire to get vengeance over what his brother ended up making them lose.
Well, thanks for giving me your life story.
It's not my life story. Yeah, I am a loser, that is true, but I definitely don't have the powers or the looks of Chris Hemsworth. 500 points to 416 here. Thanos currently at 6 kills, looking to push in onto Elmo, onto this A site, who's looking to capture, and they're just going to rush him down. Oh no, the kills are generally going the way here of the side of Force. 147 points here for J Master, who's really living up to his name.
Yeah, I love what Team Force are doing now. They're not going for that trip cap, but at the same time they're contesting it just to keep him at bay, keep him away from the other 2 point marks, so at least that way they can force him into a certain situation they don't want to be in. But Scruffy with a double elimination there is to see if he can go for a triple, which he just try and does, but sadly it's not the case. Optimus will get a very fatal trade there, and Kitty Monster will finish the job.
Oh man, I can't remember who Optimus Prime's rival is.
You don't have to know, it's fine.
I was gonna make a joke. Anyways, Optimus comes back into the point. Maybe production can let me know who it was. It starts with an M, I just can't remember the name. Meantime, a lot of trades going on towards the A site, and we'll eventually be maintaining the hands of Simplicity. Or will it? Someone just ran by them, and he's back capping it. Guys, turn around. I mean, they're gonna take B in the meantime. That's great, but you're just trading points left and right. They do have the lead for themselves, albeit by a couple points. Megatron, thank you very much, production, is his rival. I thought they were going to feed me a fake name, but
even I knew that.
I thought they were going to say like Megazord or something. I'm like, no, that's Power Rangers. Come on.
Just to throw you off guard, basically. Just throw you under the bus straight there.
Nah, ESL Poland guys are great.
I know. But anyways, going into this now, Team Force still slightly ahead, and even though they made that little bit of a mistake letting that one player through from Simplicity, they're still doing a very good job, but it's still not completely out of it yet. A double elimination from Kitty Monster will keep him at bay, try and keep him on spawn now, but we'll have to see what Team Force needs to do to continue this lead and maybe take this second and final game of the match.
Yeah, you said they're doing good, but good's not going to win them the map here, I feel like, at this rate. They need to play great, and it just doesn't seem to be going their way. Kitty Monster does get a nice double, but doubles won't save the game for them. They need to start getting these points and maintain. They're going to have B. Regroup now. I'd say back away. You don't need to contest the point directly on top where you're open to being shot up. You need to be quick to rotate to these other points of the map. Now the gap that we do have the lead for Force is closing. But they only need about 60 points left here, Lethal, to close this out.
Yeah, it's very close to say the least. There's only 16 points between these guys so far, but elimination was so important. That Thanos double right at the very end to close things out, and anything's for Team Force 2-0.
Balancing all things here as Thanos gets the final elimination to get Team Force to victory and get themselves, more importantly, now into the finals of Cup 7 here of the Challenger Series for Season 2. 500 grand on the line this year for Guns of Boom. That's a lot of dough.
That is a lot of money.
It's like half your day rate.
Pretty much, yeah. It's not half yours, no?
No, it's like 100,000 times my day rate.
But no, you're right, though. You know, $500,000 throughout one season, that's life-changing money,
yeah,
to say the least. And, you know, these teams are trying so hard, you know, during the off-season between 1 and 2. They've changed a lot of their strategies, a lot of things been implemented between Season 1 and 2. And you can see how much it's changed into effect. And some of these players have made such huge improvements. Like, you've seen players like Optimus where, you know, he does really well on some maps and some is not so well. But a lot of players will do that. You don't really see one player just shine every single match or every single map. A lot of them normally take turns. And that's what you like to see. Everyone with the same fragging ability.
Yeah, I think it's important. And it's very important to have a team that can do that, to have every player that can stand up and stand out, more importantly. I do like having that one player, though, kind of similar to a lot of other FPS games, who's just generally like the caller, right? He's the guy that will tell you what to do. He will make the strategies for you. You don't really expect too much out of him, but it seems like everyone on the side of Force has been able to really step up at the right time. And now, if they win their final match, they should be through into the main event in Texas. So won't have to travel as far as some of the European teams, but they will have to travel nonetheless here. And won't have the downside of jet lag, I guess, which is an important factor.
Yeah, you know, it's weird. You do see some teams get a little bit affected by it, some haven't, especially if they haven't been to somewhere maybe outside of Europe before. And that's going to be an interesting one as well, because there may be some teams who go to this NA Pro Series and it's their first time at an offline event. Season 1, it was almost everyone's first time, but now you've got some teams where have the experience on board from the previous season compared to this season where they haven't got any, so it'll be a bit of a weird one.
Well, you know it's going to be a weird one? We do have to head to a break at the moment, so luckily you don't get to see our faces anymore, but in about 5 minutes of time, 10 minutes? 5 to 10 minutes of time, we'll be back with our second match of the day. Welcome back, everyone, to the Guns of Boom Challenger Series Season 2. And I've got some good news, and I got some bad news for you.
What's that?
Which would you like first, the good or the bad news?
Go on, have the good news first.
The good news is we know our two teams who are coming through from North America now. It is Impact and it is Force. We don't know what order they're going to be in yet, though. Do you want the bad news?
The other two teams are out of it?
Yes. Do you want the bad news 2.0?
Okay, go on. Give me version 2.
I am very disappointed in you for not knowing anything about the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, come on. Not everyone's going to know.
They know.
I've got to watch it.
You know. At least you knew Megatron.
Okay, we'll watch it together later.
No, I'm going to bed. And
no,
so
you're not.
are you when we get back, because it's already like midnight over here in Poland. But anyways, you're going to move on to our second match here, which should be starting momentarily. It's Impact and Only Nation. So Only Nation cannot actually get through into the Pro Series event, but they can play spoiler, and they can force Impact to go into the second place position, where seeding can matter quite a bit when we do get to the main event. So we'll see if Impact can kind of reign supreme here, if they'll be able to take their victory and move on to play against Force later on, or if unfortunately they do have to play in the third, fourth place match.
Yeah, it's
they're through, so that's, you know,
I think it's
a win, right?
Yeah, just to qualify is like, well, the whole point of being here. First or second, doesn't matter too much for some of these teams, but you got to remember, if you get that first place spot, you start in the winner's semi. So you've already got a huge advantage going straight into that.
Not only that, don't you have like a prize bump as well? Because you're like guaranteed. Is there a double elimination? I don't know the format for the tournament yet, so.
I'm not 100%, but if it's single elimination, then yeah, I suppose you're technically going to get a prize pool bump straight away.
Not bad. It's not a bad way to spend your weekend, being flown out to the U.S. to go to Texas to eat some great food, hang out with some great people, your teammates who you might not have met before. I saw that. And, of course, win some money on the side. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're hopping into our first map as best of 3. Impact up against Only Nation. And let's see, as we do have Impact with Corrupt Aerial, Venom. Please tell me you know who Venom is.
Yes, I know Venom. Don't you worry. I know who Venom is. That's fine.
Who is he?
I know who Venom is. I'm not going to explain it on it.
You don't know who Venom is?
I do know who Venom is. I just not watched it.
Cool. And Gentrix.
At least I'm being honest.
That is true. Colin Swagger, Mr. Mamba, and Demon on the side here of Only Nation, who are looking to make a name for themselves. Yes, they can't qualify anymore this season, but a big victory here against #1 team over in North America would be a good way to start off their things for next week.
That's right. Even though Only Nation can't qualify here, at least they've got the confidence going into the next part of the season where the points reset and then they can start making their mark from there. Impact Gaming, a little bit of a story just to say that even though I mentioned it in the brackets, but they were a combination in R of Hyped Up and V Gaming from Season 1. So we'll have to see what they can do going forward after this match.
See what kind of impact they can make here going forward.
Oh.
I had to take yours.
That's fine, that's fine. You can take whatever.
Well, Gentrix is going to fall here on the point. So who's Venom?
I know who Venom is.
Who is he the villain to?
Look.
Who's he the rival to?
Right, look, okay.
Tell me the hero.
Okay,
Tell me the hero he's the rival to.
I don't know the full details.
No, it is so simple.
I don't watch.
You don't need to see you don't need to see the movie.
Well, clearly I do, because I don't know.
You should know whose arch rival is, or who's his nemesis.
I have no idea because I don't follow
Spider-Man.
I don't follow Marvel.
Spider-Man.
I don't follow DC. I've watched a few Spider-Man films, probably about 15 years ago, but that was literally...
Venom was in Spider-Man.
I don't...
Anyways, we'll move on. We'll move on. You know, we'll save this for after hours when we're going to argue and watch movies nonstop till your flight. 440 to 407 so far. Only Nation off to a strong start. But can they maintain it here, Lethal?
It's going to be very situational now. As long as they don't keep him on spawn and with the respawn immunity, they don't get too overzealous, too over-aggressive, then they should be fine. As long as they keep those tight angles here and there, especially when they've got control of that point, we'll have to see how it goes. But so far, Only Nation, really strong impact in this first game.
What's Venom's weakness?
Look, if I don't know the film, how am I gonna know his weakness?
Sound. Not kidding. 642 to 483. And you can see, I don't know, Only Nation, like, they come to play. I didn't expect them to really put, like, a ton of effort into this. But actually, to be fair, I didn't really expect both teams to really, except maybe Impact, to put a little bit more considering the seedings on the line. But Only Nation are here to only take heads. 729 points and counting as this lead is continuing to grow.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised. Swagger on the team doing a fantastic job there. Like, getting the points and the kills on the board. And it's so hard, especially as one of the IGLs of the team as well. But you saw there, Mambo managed to get one of his own. Corrupt managed to clean up. Venom as well. And this is their opportunity. There was a 200-point gap here. And now look at this, Jace. Only 40 left. And this is Impact Gaming's chance to hold the angles, get those unorthodox situations going, make sure they don't take too much damage as they try and make the push, but the more time Only Nation wastes, the better it's going to be for Impact Gaming here.
Venom pushing through as well, the kill streak, able to get one corrupt as well. Seems like Impact have some really good control now that they have the point. The point that they had in a deficit is starting to build up for them. They're over 100 points now in a few seconds ahead of their opponents of Only Nation, and they're looking to close this out as they only need 100 more to finish off our first map.
That's right, Impact Gaming still holding this lead, but we're not too sure how long for, but somehow Venom's just staying alive. Quick double from him, but he's trying to wait for his teammates to push on ahead, take the damage so he can help out afterwards, but doesn't matter. Swagger still getting those kills on the board. Double elimination from him. Is waiting for him on spawn now, but Impact Gaming still holding that lead, and it just seems to be a bit of a struggle right now, but doesn't matter anyway. They managed to take that, and to be fair, Only Nation are here to play, like you mentioned.
They had a strong start, but strong starts don't really win you matches. Swagger with 12 kills there, 13 for Venom, 11 for Gentrix. Still surprised you don't know who Venom is, but either way, we know, one thing we can both agree on that we both know is that Impact are looking pretty solid. And I think they're now one map away from getting through into the finals. Will they look to defend seeding?
Well, this is it, because end of the day, you want to get that #1 seed to skip the quarterfinals, get to those winners semis, and then make your path into that bracket. It means so much, like I said, the prize pool, you get a bit more of a chunk of change starting in the semis, and it depends how they want this. How with the hunger to start in that top 4. But so far, so good from Impact Gaming.
I will give a $5 gift card to whoever tweets @lethal_HT about the story of Venom and who he is.
What, you mean like an essay?
Huh?
You mean like a dissertation, like an essay or something?
Or a Wikipedia link, something like that. $5. Make sure you're following him as well, @lethal_HT. And we'll get that to you. In the meantime, though, you can see Impact, they didn't have a strong start. They had a very rough start, let's be honest, down about 200 points. But the thing is, when it mattered, they showed up. No. They started to, be impactful with their shots and their positioning, and they started to really rise to the occasion.
They really did. You are pretty funny, by the way.
I'm funny looking.
No, I'll definitely agree with you on that one. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I think there was a lot of times where some of the players on Impact Gaming shouldn't have been alive. Don't get me wrong, there was some great spots, some great angles, but there was so much damage they could have taken. But I think some of their gun skill towards the end for Only Nation just kind of slipped a little bit.
Yeah, I think they got caught off guard a little bit by the aggressive play that we saw of Impact, which is something we saw earlier on quite a bit out of fours. They like to actually get really aggressive once ever they took the point and just kind of kept the pressure on, kept you on your back foot, and try to do as much damage. Because if you think about it, if they push, do damage to you, by the time you transition, actually get in a position to take the point, they would have already respawned back in, have the HP, and can fight you yet again with a health advantage. But now moving into our second map, Only Nation, this is their only chance now to keep the series alive. I don't know how I'm doing this.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes from here. Only Nation, we had a great start last time, but struggling to close out these maps, and this is their last chance to stay in this series, like you mentioned before. But Impact Gaming, they're the ones with a good lead, with a good start now. Got C and almost B as well. And if they get this middle ground, then this could mean big things for them here. But it's not the case, as Only Nation Swagger managed to get a double elimination there to clean things up, but Gentrix and Aerial managed to clean things up.
Came in on the flank, gonna push right into him, gonna fall to Mr. Mamba as he dances his way back over towards the point. Now Demon gonna be flanking behind yet again. These flanks are just really, really catching Only Nation off guard.
Yeah, on some of these larger maps, normally Europe Square is one of the big ones where you can normally get those flanks on, but because it's so close quarters and so quick, you can do this kind of stuff. But look at that from Colin. Great stuff from him, and this is Only Nation's chance to even try and make something of this, but already a 200-point gap between these two teams, and it's only been a minute.
Yeah, and it's continuing to go the way here of Impact. They're looking to lengthen this lead even further, and they have passed that 200-point mark. They're going to take B back because they already have control of A. Nice little explosive damage comes in. That was out of Demon to get a... No, sorry, it was out of Swagger and Colin both to pick up 2 kills themselves. And Demon's going to rush in, catching off Arrow from behind. So they will get the point back, but in the meantime, C is being taken, so they still are looking to maintain these 2 points.
I love that from Venom there. As he was taking C, he was still doing a lot of damage with that Odin as well, making sure that he can help his teammates along the way. But even from C, it's actually quite hard to get an angle on any of the players, but some of them must have been standing out a little bit on that B side. But nevertheless, Aerial, he's trying to hold him back a little bit. Gentrix is going straight in, managed to finish the job there. Great play from him. And now look at this, the bait and switch going over to A.
260 points and continuing to grow now. We see finally, Only Nation's trying to build up some sort of semblance of control, but it might just be a little bit too late as we're about to have that 900-point line crossed. The knives coming in. Screw fisticuffs. We're battling with knives, as you see. Only Nation win out on those fights.
That's right, the lead is just increasing now, 280. They really need to do something here. Maybe even a bit of a trip cap just to kind of stabilize things a bit more. But at this stage, Only Nation are really struggling. They're kind of separating themselves a little bit here and there. And this is a great example now. You know, he's on his own, but he's waiting for that first fight, waiting for Impact Gaming to make that first mistake. But that's not going to happen. They're going to force them to make that first mistake. As you can see there, trying to get A. Sadly, it wasn't for them, but look at this now. 3 members of Impact Gaming are down 4 now. So this is their chance to try and get this game back.
Well, they still have 100 points to close in this distance, in this gap. You see Venom trying to come around the corner, gets the first, gonna fall eventually to Mr. Mamba, but it doesn't matter. It's gonna be a 3-to-1 trade in favor here of Impact. Is looking to take C and over to the next point. 120 points left to go for them to close out this map and the series. We're seeing Only Nation try to fight back here as they still have 2 points, but how much longer can they maintain this?
Yeah, it's looking very difficult here. Not long left now. Either one of these teams could make a comeback here. It's a 10-point difference between both teams, and 2 members, 3 maybe, of Impact Gaming are down. So we need to see what they're going to do to try and come back from this. At least Gentrix here managed to get one, but gets traded straight away, and only 6 points left. They just need to hold us, not die, but managed to take one down anyway from Corrupt and Aerial to end things and the series.
Let's be honest though, Lethal, that was a hell of a lot closer than we expected. A team who's had so many mixed results over the course of the entire, last 6 weeks. And they've been able to push the best team in North America to very close points in both maps. Yeah, they didn't win the first map. That was a little bit more of a different spread. But they did have a big lead. I think it's about 200 points for a majority of that map. And then going into map 2, coming down to about 50-point difference. I think we're going to see a new team rise in the ranks next season.
And this is why it's such a good opportunity, especially next week when you have that points reset and all the new teams come in to try and make that impact into the scene, to try and do what they can. Then that is your next stepping stone to get involved. And you see there, Only Nation and a couple of the EU teams as well, like Unbreakables and Hacky as well. You know, these new teams coming out of the woodwork to try their best to try and make something of this. It's starting to become quite good so far. But you saw there, even though it was a 2-0, the story was a little bit different on the maps, as it was really, really close between both teams.
And considering what we saw with Simplicity and Force, who are much closer in the rankings to each other, I was expecting that one to be a lot closer. But it felt like this match between number 1, I think like number 8 or number 9 in the rankings was closer than the match between the number 2 and number 3 seeded. So really cool to see that there's such a minute difference in skill, I guess, between a lot of the top teams. But having Impact now against Force as our final match will determine, I think it determines who's first and second seed. I have to get a double check on that when we get into our break.
Yeah, because the points are pretty close between these two teams. I'm quite sure that between Impact Gaming and Team Force, I think there was about 25. So if that's true, then we'll have to, of course, look it up at the table afterwards. Okay. But nonetheless,
so here
it's been very good from this other squad.
So if Impact lose and Force wins, then they're tied on points at 325, and they play off a match on Monday in a best-of-5 to determine seeding.
And that's very important because
right, admin?
That could be a guarantee for top 4 if that is the case. So we'll have to see how that pans out.
Okay, they didn't tell me if I'm right. But I'm going to assume I'm right because I can look at numbers and I can figure out how it goes. But we're going to head to that break. I'm right. Thank you for telling me that, production. So to get that in before we did head to that break. But when we come back, we'll be kicking off our finals here of our last week of the Challenger Series, and we'll see you guys in a few. Welcome back, everyone, to the Guns of Boom Challenger Series 2 last cup here before we get into the Pro Series in Dallas, Texas in April. I'm Jason Kaplan, joined by the handsome Lethal as we get underway with our final game of the day. And it's going to be a cracker of a match. It's going to be a best of 5 here. We're going to find out who's going to be the better team. More importantly, who's going to be the #1 seed here between Impact and Force.
Yeah, these two teams are extremely, extremely strong. They're so good. And the fact that with Team Force, they're the same squad from the Season 1 finals, but placed 3rd, and they lost to Noble and Lazarus. So these two teams not going there now. This is a very good chance for them to go over to Texas to actually maybe win it all. But, you know, with this Impact Gaming, they've always had a really good online record when they're on separate teams. But now they're together, it'll be interesting to see how they actually work up against Team Force.
I'm really hoping you have a nice pun ready for Impact and Force.
Well, I think we've done quite a few impacts, haven't we?
Yeah.
Done like, what,
but
10?
Force and Impact.
Yeah.
I'll give you time
Force
to
and
think
Impact, I know.
I'll give you time to think about it.
Okay. Well,
time's up.
Well, that's it, I'm stuffed.
All right, so it's going to be a best of 5. Again, the winner of this one determines #1 seeding out of the group, out of the region, I guess is the better way to do it. Yeah. And seeding is really, really important. We're not sure how seeding is going to work necessarily when it comes to who you match up against, but as you said, you get into the winners finals. Semifinals?
Yes, so if you do get #1
stage
seed
further.
So if you get #1 seed in EU or North America, you start in the semi-finals and you're playing as a winner of the previous 2 matches between Southeast Asia, LATAM, and EU and NA #2.
There you go.
No squads, but we will go to this first game to see exactly what's going to happen between these 2 squads.
All right, so we're at the Farming Complex off the bat here. And I think we both agree that Force looked definitely of the stronger of 2 teams since they played against Simplicity, where Impact played against Only Nation, who's like 8th in the standings and the points. So you would assume that, you know, Impact would have had a relatively easy match. And yes, the scores do say 2-0, but that didn't really tell the tale of how that match did go. But at the moment, they are in the lead by 40 points. Quick maps right there.
Nice one, by the way. Didn't use a calculator that time, man.
Didn't have to. Little did you know I was actually on calculating beforehand.
You probably were, but anyways, looking at the score and 90-point difference between the 2. Bit weird, Impact Gaming, they've just literally played this map, and even though so did Team Force previously, it seems like they got the upper hand by quite a margin. And as you can see, you know, you've got 2 members trying to take out Optimus. There wasn't the case. Optimus on to clean up Venom. Aero got taken out for himself, and J Master managed to get that trade. But we've seen it a number of times before when there's a 200 or 300 point gap and they manage to close out within like about 30 seconds. It can happen again.
And J Master was the real stand-up player on this map when we saw them before playing against Simplicity. He was well beyond everyone else in terms of points. Having more of a closer game, I guess, between all of the crew, where Venom, on the other hand, and Corrupt have been able to really set themselves apart with 100 points each. But speaking of points, we can see getting close to about 130, 140 difference between the 2 teams. Impact's looking to maintain this pace as Optimus is going to push an aerial. Going to make quick work of that Lobster. Nah, Lobster doesn't work. I'm trying to think of Dizzy reference, but that, yeah, let's just skip over that. Anyways.
He tried.
Yeah, it was a bad try, apparently.
But it doesn't matter anyway. Impact Game must get 3 down and 3 down again. But J Master managed to come back then with Thanos finishing things up, but still they need to get something going ASAP, because looking at its scoreline, it's been so similar. They've been trying to push middle quite a lot, but they need to go more for A or C to at least try and change things up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they're still maintaining a 200-point difference, though, and it's kind of growing at some points, though. I think we're going to see a little bit of a stagnation in that lead, as I feel like Force are eventually going to catch up here as you see them do it. Thanos off the back of him, able to get a nice little double, and then 123 points for him. They do have C, which they're losing. They do have A, which they have control of, and they're turning B in the meantime. So they can play from B and A together, since they're on the same side of the map generally. It's better to, I guess, defend B and A than it is to defend C and A. And you can see AO trying to make his way through, but he's going to be overrun eventually by J Master. He's got to worry about another player coming off, just actually going to spot him out and takes him out. And that point lead, it's still there, funny enough, even with a lot of these eliminations going the way of Force.
That was very difficult for him there. He wanted to go for that flank, and he did, but sadly, one of the members of Team Force spawned and was already in front of him. So, bit of a shame, really, and so far, Team Force has been a bit of a struggle for them. Impact Gaming are just happily trading left, right, and centre, back and forth, and it doesn't matter too much to them. You know, as long as they get the points and they're just trading, end of the day, the same scoreline is going to happen, and they need to change something now. But it looks like they have done. Team Force have caught up just that little bit more. We'll have to see what they do to change things up. But that was a very important kill there. But Gentrix there with elimination streak to help him out just that little bit more.
Oh, these points are just snowballing in the favor of the Fiver. I don't know, I want to go that way. 50 points left to go in for Impact. So looking to close out. 120 left to go here for Force. They have to pull off a massive play to somehow turn this around. C's been captured and locked down. The 1v1 inside the barn, breaking down between these two. J-Master to come out the victor, but it doesn't matter. The victor he got was cut short by the other team as Impact was able to put their foot down with Force and take the first map.
Your puns, eh? Loving it. But you saw there, Impact Gaming towards the end. There wasn't really too much they needed to do. Literally just throwing bodies at the issue. Didn't really have to go for the kills or anything like that, but it's all good. So all we need to do is just keep away from the points towards the end, which they did.
But you know what we're going over to now?
Oh, what's that?
Sorry. Caught off guard. It's TDM.
Oh, okay.
So
well,
we haven't seen that mode when it comes to the semifinals, but going into the finals is where things are really going to be interesting because this is a completely different change of pace from what we've seen in the other matches prior, where things really slow down. We've seen time be the key factor in majority of the matches. And it comes down to now how it's going to work. How are you going to play against each other? Are you going to play passive? Are you going to get the lead then hold back? Are you going to get the lead then be more aggressive? And usually one team ends up defending and the other team really ends up being the attacker in this. Even though it's TDM, which is funny. It's all about getting kills, but there are roles to play.
Oh, it's huge roles. It's a completely different play style, and especially if you're on an objective-based team and you're very good at those objective-based games anyway, normally you're used to that pure aggression, the mass aggression, even though you don't really have too much thought process or too much game sense apart from having to rubber band double back and forth to try and get something going. With the TDM, that's where it's a completely different play style, where you have to kind of slow it down a little bit, trying to control those play styles, control what you want to do into the aggression and the passiveness. But we'll have to see exactly what Impact can do here.
Yeah, what they can do, definitely. And I just want to remind you guys who are waiting for someone to use the bathroom, is that at the end of today, the points are reset. Just to reiterate this for you guys at home who are not familiar with how it's going to work. And then starting next week, when we come back here to beautiful Katowice, we'll be kicking off the first cup of 7 to determine who are the top 2 teams from each region, or not from all the regions, to go into the main event in Latin America. Not sure which country it is just yet, or maybe we do know. Maybe if you slide a quick little 50 into my DMs, not going to happen. But there is an event going in Latin America, and that'll all be leading into Gods of Boom, the 2nd edition later on in this year. So if you guys want to get involved, obviously head over to play.eslgaming.com, head over to the Guns of Boom section, and get your team signed up and ready to go, because things are going to be heating up here.
That's right. Every single cup makes a difference. You've got to try and get as collective as much as you can. And what way better to start than next week? Even if you don't think your team's ready, get involved anyway, because there's points depends all placements here. But it looks like we were going to go into that game. A little bit of difficulty there, but I'm sure we'll go back into it in a little bit.
I don't think they wanted to play 3v4.
Didn't really fancy it, did they?
I mean, if you want to call yourself the best, you got to. No, I'm just. Maybe one of us. Actually, we have had one of our guys backstage playing. Maybe he could have jumped in, but he probably would have not gotten a single kill, to be honest, after what I saw.
Would you reckon, like, what, the super sub? Well, maybe not that super.
I think his day job is faring better for him than, well, I guess his night job right now, as it's definitely midnight over here in Katowice. But please don't hate me.
He's probably looking at
okay, he's giving me a heart. He's giving me a heart. Good.
Oh, okay. Ooh. He's being nice. He's not thinking.
Until my lower third comes up and it says something completely different than my name, then I'll know if it really give me love or not. So we're just waiting for this to reset really quick and we can get underway with the second map. But I'm curious to see how things go in Texas, because not only do you have North America there, you have Europe there, you have Latin America, you have one more region, from APAC, if I remember correctly.
That is right. Now, with these SEA teams and these LATAM teams, they haven't really come into the scene yet in an offline environment. Now, we saw it for the first time at the Season 1 finals, where the North American teams finally had their first event, because we did have an invitational in Katowice last year in July, where it was just the top 4 EU teams from the Go4s managed to qualify for it. And then they already had that LAN experience. So when they went to Los Angeles, yeah, sure, fair enough. They suffered from jet lag. They tried to get anything going when they were over there. But still, they had a huge advantage. And they still had the hunger to do, of course, be the best in Season 1. But the North American teams, you saw a couple there which could have made, a bit more changes, a bit more of an effort here and there. But sadly, it wasn't the case. But things over Team Force, they were one of the teams who was the highest placing team from the North American section. Managed to get third, did lose to to Lazarus and Noble. But we're going back into this game now to see Team Force again against Impact Gaming to see what they can do here.
So I'm really curious how it's going to wind up, because I can think of so many games, so many esports that initially it does go one region's way, usually like North America, And then once other teams or once other regions have more opportunities to play more competitively and get that experience under the belt, that's when North America starts to fall behind. But you know, I've been living here 6.5 years in Europe, so I'm kind of torn between EU and NA. But I hope we just get some great competition when we get into Texas. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, I hope so. You know, you obviously like EU more than NA, so considering you've been here for 6.5 years.
I am neither confirming or denying any of that.
Okay, I'll leave you in purgatory with that one anyway. And as you see there, Team Force were on the lead just that little bit, but Impact Gaming slowly ahead, but doesn't matter how big the lead is, they're going to see what they can do to try and force the first mistake, which they do, but in the end, Goku managed to take out Corrupt, get that trade frag between Thanos and Aerial, and now Team Force needs to try and hold on to this lead and be careful from the flanks from Impact Gaming.
I'm actually curious if they're going to play defensive or continue to push up, and I think we're getting an answer to that question. Is Gentrix, oh my gosh, almost takes on Optimus. He's only able to pull off a 1v2 here. If he somehow does this, what is going on? He should not be able to get a double like that. Then Venom comes in with one as well. The lead's grown to now 56 points. They can now back away and play safe here and force to be aggressive. That was...
Almost.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Well, at least you tried. But that's the one thing with the North American teams. They've always been known to be the most aggressive, which doesn't surprise me too much. But EU have always had that extra element of strategic side behind them. But they have improved on their aggression. They can change up quite a lot. But I'm interested to see how they will do in the future now. But Impact Gaming managed to get 3 down there. So important. And they just need to keep them on spawn, get those off angles, make sure to keep them at bay whilst they're, you know, quite heavily damaged, to see what they can do to try and get much damage done on top of what they do on that spawn cycle there. Gentrix and Aerial managed to get a couple more kills and extend that lead just that little bit more.
Well, they say the best defense is a good offense, and it seems like the way Impact have been playing is just getting aggressive, even with the lead they do have, to catch Force off guard, but it seems to now be working against them here. As you see the flank come in from Thanos, he gets himself a quick double, tying things up exactly at 255 apiece. Aerial's looking for a shot, and J-Master will be there, but Aerial will take him down. And looks like the lead will go back over to Impact.
That's a triple elimination there for Gentrix. 3 down already, and again, that lead is back in favor of Impact Gaming. With Skyscraper, you know, when you do have the lead, you can play passive, you can wait back to see what you can do and what the next available option is. But if you do that on this map, it's going to be quite difficult. You know, a couple of members can just easily flank, take you off guard, and then take out the entire team. And we've seen it plenty of times before. Gentrix does get killed in the end, but does get an elimination streak before he goes on anyway, with that 30-point difference between both teams.
I think this might be the first time we're actually going to see this finish based off points, not off time here with TDM. At least in so far today's games. You see Thanos again trying to push back up, gets another. That lead now cut down to 3-point difference. Aerial. Ooh. I swear there was a player there. He just eliminates J-Master, and he gets the second as well, Venom. And Aerial working really well in tandem together.
That's right, when you get that impact damage from the G launcher, it's about 2,000 there, so huge in that retrospect, but we'll have to see what they can do from here. Impact Gaming in a very comfortable spot, but look at this, they've got all 4 members on one side, but with different angles, so they can snipe, but at the same time make sure they don't get flanked, but we'll have to see what kind of strategy Team Force can get here. But you can see a couple of members are thinking of pushing up, but he pushed up just on his own, but gets to trade anyway, quite surprisingly, but the trade wasn't good enough. It was 2 for 1 in favor of Impact Gaming. Optus managed to clean up one. Aerial gets one of his own now, and it looks like this could be an Impact Gaming map again.
We talked about getting trades, but trades are not going to win you the map here with how big of a lead that we have for Impact. And that's it. Actually, Aerial gets the elimination streak, takes down Javier, and Goku go back to the Zenzu Beans to come around another try into our 3rd map. Which Impact is now 1 more map away from confirming their first spot here and going into the hyperbolic time chamber before we kick things off in Texas.
See, that Sensu Bean one. See, I got that one because I actually watch it. Not the whole Thanos situation or Venom or anything else.
I can ask you the question I asked you off air if you want on camera, but I don't think many people out there will understand it.
Well, you know, you've got quite a lot of DBZ fans out there, but...
I don't know. No one tweeted to you like any information on Venom. I was going to give them a $5 gift card. It takes you like 10 seconds to Google Venom Wikipedia, copy the link, tweet it to you, and be following you.
Maybe they're just being nice. Maybe the viewers don't want to throw me under the bus. Have you ever thought about that?
Dude, $5 is $5. Things I would do for $5.
I don't imagine what you'd do off there for $5, but yeah, it's just one of those things, you know. They're not going to throw me under the bus, which I'm happy with. Well, I say that now, but then someone's probably going to tweet me and then throw me under the bus, and I'm just going to be like, cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.
And if they tweet
$5,
you have to give me $5.
That's not how it works.
It works.
Say that before.
At J Kaplan, JKAPLAN. And follow me, and then
see what we can do.
Will give me $5 for every follower.
No. Absolutely not. That'd be me giving it like $500, and I'm like, oh dear.
You think 100 people are going to follow me on Twitter right now?
Probably not, but now that I've said no, it'll probably happen.
But now that we said, yeah, but maybe they can prove us wrong.
Maybe not. No.
There. J Kaplan. Wait for my lower third to pop up.
I've got bills to pay. I've got mortgages to pay, man.
Nope, they're not doing it for me.
No, not at all.
Or you have a mortgage. Okay, subtle brag, but all right. We're moving into our third map. Mortgage, have a house. Going to our third map here, potentially our final now as we make our way over to Atrium for some more control. As Force, well, they're already controlling things. They get the initial 32 points, the initial frag, and the initial capture on the points. Well,
like we said before the match started, I need somewhere to live, but somewhere we want to travel to will be Texas. We managed to take that third map, and it's looking a great start from Impact Gaming. Managed to get that final 2 kills from Venom there to get that C point. So crucial in this match.
All right. Javier wasn't even looking towards Aerial. Must have used the instant transmission to get behind him.
Oh, I like that one.
Oh,
I like that one.
I started talking, I couldn't remember the name, and I was just hoping I could waft on long enough to remember instant transmission.
You saved yourself then, basically.
That's the best feeling, like when you're talking, like I can't remember the name, and then just right before you have to say it, you remember.
Where you just like clutch up.
Yeah. Clutch your kick. Luckily for me, I'm not getting kicked off the broadcast right now, but someone might be getting kicked out of the tournament here as Impact is continuing on the pace they made from the first 2 maps.
Yeah, so far they've extended their lead more and more now. 200 points, and they've got A and B. B is so important considering they spawn right in the front of it. But they're just cleaning house right now, and it seems like Team Force don't really have an answer to what they can do to capitalize on the situation.
Okay, Venom missed both his shots there. A little unfortunate for him, but Gentrix's going to be coming back in, and no one's looking towards him. And he gets the shots, and gets a second as well. Should not ideally be happy in this situation, but look at this difference. 300 points here, Lethal. That is hands down the biggest lead we've seen today.
I mentioned before the whole NA spectacle started. With this team on Impact Gaming, they're a combination of 2 of some of the best teams here in North America, and they're really showing it. Look at that point difference now, 450. And it seems like Team Force have to really, well, I'll probably say close to a miracle now.
500 points.
That's quite a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's quite a bit here, and they're showing no signs of stopping. I think they want even more. This is definitely proving to be a map that they're comfortable with, or maybe Force aren't as comfortable. Now you can see now a little bit of a push coming out of Aerial. Nate going to come in as well. 3 players here. One's going to fall. A second will fall as well, and the third going to be cleaned up. And just like that, they have a 600-point lead.
All 4
What is happening?
I know, all 4 down now. And you saw that from Aerial. We got to scout out to try and run a little bit quicker to that next point and managed to get a nade off to get so much damage done. And there we have it. Nearly 718-point difference between the 2 teams on a map like Atrium as well. It just shows that when you get that middle point, it's very difficult to contend with, even if you spawn right in front of it.
So, I noticed, I'm sure a couple people that noticed at home as well, you saw a little pop-up on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, you know, about Guns and Boom put the announcement out, hey, go watch Impact and Force play in the finals. Only if they knew the finals literally just finished, like right when they sent it, because it went that quick, because it was that fast with 3-0 in favor of Impact, and they've definitely put their foot down with Force to prove they are #1 team in North America.
It's some impressive stuff, I'm not going to lie, but yeah.
Is that good? Was that bad?
It was good, mate. It was good. Don't you worry about it.
Making you come to 90%, I'll come to 10.
Yeah.
Just like in kissing. But yeah, they do get themselves through. #1 team. They're going to be the #1 seed as well, going to the big event, the Pro Series in Texas in just a few weeks' time. I think about 3 to 4 weeks. Actually, pretty much like a month from now.
A month.
We'll be there. And bright, warm, and scorchingly hot Texas. But maybe we have the standings to show everyone at home. Maybe a little quick update for them as well to see, you know, what the points were. And of course, obviously what the bracket was towards the end. You can see Impact, 50-point lead, Force make it through a second. And unfortunately, Simplicity, their hopes were unfortunately forced to a close as they did lose their semifinal match.
Wasn't as good as the other puns, but yeah, you are right. Simplicity did get denied that spot, which is a shame, but Team Force and Impact Gaming definitely well-deserved, especially with Impact Gaming not showing in that final, the best of 5 in that 3-0. They deserved that first seed more than anything.
Oh, yeah, especially with the point difference at 700. Ridiculous. And here are a couple of highlights, and, you know, keep your eye on it because it's going to go quick. Still very fast. And you just see, watch the points, 100, so 200 to about 200, right? And just watch how quickly that stacks up. Okay, they've already doubled to 400 now, like the next 30 seconds in. But and they're gonna like double again to 800 the next 30 seconds to a minute. Like that was just a slaughter.
Sometimes it can happen on Atrium, but not like this. Like, this is like some ridiculous stuff. And don't get me wrong, like, you know, there's a few scenarios where if you get B control at the start, it's quite hard to take back. But then again, if you do have like almost double, maybe even a triple cap, you've got the height advantage, you've got all the damage you need. But then again, like, how do they not capitalize? I think just by then, towards the end, when they're down like 300-400 points, they got demoralized. But then again, doesn't matter too much. They've qualified. The only difference is they will get that #2 seed and will play one of the other regions between SCA and LATAM.
I'm still just amazed, though, because they went up by 400 points when the team went up by 100. Let's take a look at the brackets one more time before we do close out tonight and close out the show for today. You can see Impact Gaming not dropping a map throughout the semifinals and the finals. And like you said, Lethal, 100% deserving of their seed in first place. But Lethal, our first show together here for Guns of Boom, our second show ever together. Funny enough, but we're actually casting for the first time together. It's been a pleasure, and we get to see each other quite a bit over the next few months. You guys as well get to see our pretty faces and our not so pretty faces over the course of the next months. But anything you want to say before we head off for today?
No, it's, you know, always a pleasure, never a chore. But you know, with the series we've seen tonight, we've seen some amazing stuff, seen a lot of upsets, a couple of teams which kind of predicted to go through. But nonetheless, it's been a great evening.
Okay, well, for myself, for Lethal, for our lovely production crew sticking with us throughout the entire day, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week at the same time to kick off the first cup of our new weeks and our new season. See you soon.